The time is 5:32. This is the Johnstonville Elementary School District Board of Trustees regular meeting, October 12th, 2016. 1.0 opening business. 1.1 call to public session. Call public session to order. Please turn off the silence of cell phones for the duration of this meeting to limit distractions and disturbances to the business of the district. The meetings of the Johnstonville Elementary School are recorded. 1.2 roll call. Everyone is present except for Lisa Rice. 1.3 Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody will stand and remove their hands. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
1.4 adopt agenda. If the governing board determines it wishes to add items to the agenda, this would be the appropriate time. There must be an emergency or some urgency to add an item to the agenda, and supermajority vote of the board is required to add an item. Is there an item that the board needs to be added to the agenda? Okay.
I'd like to move 8.1.2. This month's agenda and move it to next month's agenda.
Consent calendar,
Yes.
8.1.2.
Here's the table.
Basically, yes.
What's wrong?
We will.
We just want to table it. He wants to table it.
We'll identify something with the job description.
Anything else on the agenda, board members?
And the two prepared agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay.
1.5 minutes. Board action will be taken regarding the minutes from the regular board meeting held September 14th, 2016, and special board meeting September 20th, 2016. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept all the minutes as printed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. 1.6 identify closed session topics of discussion. Please refer to the list of items identified in agenda section 3. And items to be discussed in closed session are those that are marked with an X. And it says number 2, public employee appointments. Government Code section 54957, personnel assignment order 2016/2017 number 3. Is there a motion on 1.6? Do we need to make a motion on 1.6? Okay, sorry. 1.7, allow for public comment on closed session. Is there any public comment on the closed session? Immediately adjourn to closed session. 17, it's 5:36. We're in closed session. Okay, you guys ready? Is that on? The time is 6:12. 4.0 reconvene in open session. 4.1 adjourn closed session and reconvene open session. 4.2 report action taken in closed session. So we are reporting Johnstonville Elementary School Personnel Assignment Order number 2016-2017, number 3. Number 1, hire assignments, kindergarten teacher Jessica Jenner, 4-0, yay. Part-time teacher Bill Laux, 4-0, yay. Part-time teacher Dorothy Wood, 0-4, nay.
So what does that mean?
You hired a full-time teacher, 2 part-time teachers?
We hired 1 full-time, 1 part-time for kindergarten, a part-time teacher, Bill Laux, and we did not hire Dorothy Wood.
What is Mr. Laux?
And Laux is doing what, 0 through 4 you said?
No. That's our vote. All 4 of us, 4 to 0, 4 days.
We just didn't understand.
Oh,
Mr. Laux
sorry.
is like a backup. He co-teaches, helps with tutoring, things like that.
Okay.
wherever he's needed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like extra hands.
Sorry, guys.
No, we just didn't understand.
I was like 0 through 4. We don't even have a 0.
We're there now.
I understand it was the vote. It was fine. I was.
Sorry, I just rambled around through that. 5.0 recognitions, 5.1 acknowledgement of visitors. The board/district administration will recognize visitors at this time. Do we have any visitors that would like to that we are recognizing? No? Okay. 5.2 acknowledgement of awards. The board administration may announce any awards at this time. Students of the month for October. Do you want to do this?
Every month, Lassen County Commons has a sponsor that lists and recognizes the students of the month. And so when the paper comes around again in October, these are the students that will be recognized, and they will be getting recognition from the school in form of some type of pin or certificate.
We have one with us.
Fifth grade? Right. Dominic McClellan is here. Congratulations, sir. And 6.0 communications, 6.1 reports and presentations. Routine status reports regarding school activities, meetings, scheduled, conferences attended, suggestions for future board consideration, and recent developments from groups such as staff unions, JSCA, I don't know why that was a word one, community partners, etc. No, he's going to report to you later, right? Yes. Okay. Elizabeth, do you have anything for 6.1.1 board member reports? The board members may give a brief update of their board activities.
I can't even recall from now, or from previous meetings now. I know we started basketball. I'm coaching the girls team with Miss Adams and Grace Poor. So we just started girls basketball practices this week, but other than that, I can't think of anything.
Richard, do you have any activities?
Other than the fact that I was very impressed when I came down to the corridors here, kids voted for student council and president. That is great. Some of these signs that are very, very, very ingenious. Probably they don't turn out like Trump. But other than that, nothing.
Jim had to leave early, so that's why he's not here. My activities, I've been here and there on the campus, here and there. I did turn in my formal resignation from the board presidency today, so I will no longer be part of this board after tonight. And that was it for board activities. 6.1.2 superintendent report. The superintendent/principal may give a brief report.
Good evening, everyone. We have our October events that have launched. Students have done great teams. They're going to be having a 8th grade dance on the 21st from 7 to 9:30 here. We're also scheduled to have a Star Kid Fall Festival, so I'd like to harvest with the carnivals. That will be right during school at the end of the day on the 27th, and on the 28th in the morning, right after the morning ceremony, we will have our Halloween parade. Our other report that I have that's very brief, there's been some requests for information about Success for All. Success for All is still here. It's been modified with a 30-minute reduction in time so that we can meet our corrective, our compliance compliance matters for all subject areas that we're required to teach, and specifically the Common Core and the standards. Success for All is written into our school site plan, and it's also written into our LCAP that was approved with stakeholder input, and it is here for this year. Nothing that goes in, that happens at the school happens without input and the school plans that I just mentioned drive what happens at the school, and it's driven by data. So anything that goes in there, not just Success for All, should go through a process, and it has input. So it is here, and as the instructional leader, I had to make a 30-minute tweak so that we could meet the other needs that I will be talking to you about, and that I have a whole presentation on that.
6.1, Johnstonville Teachers Association, JTA, certificated union report. Do we have it? Other than union?
And then we work on negotiation dates.
I didn't hear the whisper though.
We just would like to get started with negotiations since we're so behind. We haven't negotiated for this current 16-17 school year yet, and so we're eager to set some dates for negotiations.
Okay. 6.1.4, California School Employee Association, classified union report. Anybody here from them? Okay. 6.1.5, new local control, the LCAP template presentation, Dr. Spears.
This is one of many presentations that we will have about the new LCAP. LCAP stands for Local Control Accountability Plan. A few years back, funding to school systems changed, and there's a requirement for stakeholder engagement meetings, and they have indicators in that report. And so this September, the State Board of Education revised the current LCAP plan, and they added in 2 more indicators. They added in a host of rubrics that you have to do before you even start to write it, and it's required that you have parent groups, teachers, all kinds of groups that feed into what you're going to do a self-assessment. And so as part of that coming in, I knew that we were going to have that, and as the state makes announcements to districts about what's going to happen, you have to wait till they actually have it. So finally we got that last month, and even today we got a new update. So I want people to start to understand. It's a lot to digest. And so what I did, I have a PowerPoint that's up here that's pretty dense, but I have this quick thing that I'm going to show you here too. These are the indicators that they have, and they added in more. We used to have 8, now we have 10 indicators. Each indicator has requirements from the state. 8 of them we've already used, and you can see our local control accountability plan. It is on our district website. And you can also see our school site plan. It is on our district website. It's also on the county's website, so they've been approved. The ones on the bottom are the ones that we're going to get started on soon, the last 4. So I'll draw your attention there, and as I go through the PowerPoint, you'll hear some of the things, and you'll start to hopefully see why I made a tweak, to the 30-minute tweak to our plan already. Self-assessment indicators, the basics, implementation of academic standards, parent engagement, and school climate. Each of those have rubrics that you have to deal with. And then everything has to be backed up by your data. So even though we say we want to do Success for All, but if it doesn't, or whatever, McGraw-Hill, Wonders, anything that we say we want to do, and we can prove that it's research-based, it has standards, if our results, our data on the new test that is 2 years old, shows that we're not on track, according to their rubrics. They will score us, they rate us. Then they want us to self-assess ourselves, which we will start to do as a staff and with parents and community members. And when they rate us, if we get a red, and we 2 years in a row, then that area becomes an area that they will come in and do technical assistance. Now, what that means is that someone from the state, or they'll have a listing, they haven't told us that. In the past, they used to have approved groups, and they would come in and they coach people at the district level, and then they coach the school. And basically, they would kind of control your plans. So even though we would say we want to do something, they would direct us. That would direct us, and they would write it up. And so we need to continue to do that. All of that is connected to our school funding. Currently, under the old system with the STAR test, we are a program improvement year 2 school. That's where we stopped. The district, I'm positive, is not in program improvement, but the school is. So that can happen. And so when you have it as a school, technical assistant looks different. You know, they can send people, or they can allow you to do your own tweaks, but someone has to review it. The county office is allowed to oversee you at a certain level. And so I have a meeting along with our CBO this month, at the end of the month, to talk about the new template that I'm starting to share with you. And I already had a meeting with her today so that she makes sure that I'm aware that I need to get started on some of the indicators. So just a quick note, and I will go through the PowerPoint. On the one that says school climate, we are required, the easiest thing and what we're used to doing is the California Healthy Kids Survey. That is a requirement. If we do that, it will help us fill out the template and give us the data that the state wants us to use. So 3rd through 8th grade, we'll be taking an online survey about the safety of the school, bullying, caring adults, all those kinds of things. Staff will have to take it, and there's also a component for parents. And so when we take that data, we can fill out our survey and use that information to meet the guidelines. Parent engagement, there's a whole couple of pages of things that they require us to do. And so when we have those workshops, we'll use that data. Academic standards, we're required to implement the California standards. Also, Common Core, plus the math, plus the new science. So we have new things, more than anyone would wish for coming. So with all of that, I tried to make you a color copy. This is just a sample. The real deal is coming soon. This is a sample from the state meeting that I got my hand on that the county gets. And if you look at the top, these little codes up here, they're going to start to code each one of these. They will rate us, each one of these. They'll take all of our data, put it in here, and according to the data and our self-assessment, they'll start to code us where we start this year. That's the pre-work that we can do prior. Now, when the state really drops it in there, they're going to say, you're this. So we will soon, after we do all of our rubrics on these bottom 4, we'll have an indicator of where we are. So we have done a lot of good work in literacy with reading. And under the old system, STAR, we showed a lot of growth. And even under the new system, even from the first year of Common Core to this year, we almost doubled in reading overall. And each grade level has shown some growth. At this point, because it's so new, our best target is to at least hit where the state scores, and the state is around 40, in the 40s. And so in some of our grade levels, we are above, and particularly in ELA. So I will just quickly read those off because that's a compliment to the transition. For 3rd grade, we're right around the state average, so that's really good. And that shows a super increase for this school. They doubled their effort there. In 4th grade, we're above 13 percentage points above the state. 5th grade, we're a little under 10, but 10. The state is at 49, we're at 39. That's just on that test. We can't compare it to anything else. Common Core, CAS test is apples and oranges to anything we've ever did. They made it that way so that we can't compare it to anything else. In 7th grade, the state is at 48 and we're at 33 overall of students that met or exceeded. And in 8th grade, we had 64 and the state had 48. So we were 16 points over. So we have that growth of lifting up in math. However, we're under the state, sometimes 20 points, sometimes it ranges from 10 to 28 points under. And so we know we have work to do there, and so some of our new plans will have to show that. So what our wonderful teachers have done, though it's difficult to make that transition when you're trying to change from a new system and get the growth that you need. You're making double 2 years growth in 1 year. A lot of that has been done at this school. And so, but you have a new test that we're being judged on, not to cross the state. So this is an awareness piece. Let's see here. So the local control funding formula now has these evaluation rubrics. Bless you. And it's connected to our funding, the LCFF. We have templates, and there's things for schools and school districts to do. This one is too small for you to look at. These evaluation rubrics, everything is color-coded, and you pretty much have this part here is the stuff that's on here. So when they start to score us, they're going to send us a document that looks like this, and then you will know where you are. These color codes, blue, green, yellow, and orange, and so forth, go with this little thing up here. And they're going to start putting those everywhere. And what we want to avoid are reds. Because 2 reds in a consecutive year means somebody's going to think that they need to coach us or assist us in some way. So, let's see. So some of those are some of the things that they're looking for. Let me go to the next one. So the State Board of Education adopted 4 indicators for success with performance standards: readiness for college and careers, graduation rates, progress of English learners, and suspension rates. And that's what I just kind of gave you some of those topics on here. They added on 2 additional indicators, and I announced it at back to school night how important absenteeism is, because they're going to take that and drop that in there. So if we get 2 reds in a year, which we can easily do with a lot of tardies and truancies and all the changes that we have going on there, so that's something to watch. The State Board of Education adopted 4 local indicators, and those are the ones that are on the bottom. Those are the ones that we as a district have to really get. And they gave us new tasks that we haven't had to do before with these rubrics. And then the State Board of Education established a system by which schools that do not meet the performance standards can be eligible for technical assistance and intervention. And so the county, as usual, and Lassen County is very, very good at working with districts. They go through our LCAP, and they really make sure that they try and prevent. They're a very good buffer. I've worked for more than one county, and they are very good. They make sure before they sign off on our plan that we will meet the state's expectations at least the minimum level, and our plans won't be turned back and we will be funded. So I will be meeting with them on I think the 26th. So in that, they gave me a thick packet of indicators and things, and what they're going to do for us is they're going to take all the data that they have available and they're going to drop them into some of these templates for us so that our committees can see the data that the state is seeing and that they see. Again, you pretty much have these, but again, this is just a mock-up sample of how they would show. This district here has no reds, so they're pretty much not going to be that concerned, but they know where they are, they're standing. Examples of indicators, suspension rates, they'll start to show that, and again, the county is going to help us by getting all of our baseline data together, so the next meeting I have at the county, I will have a color-coded packet, and according to what they have on file, we'll already have some of our indicators as to where we are in our status. So I just wanted to show you some of those samples. They're going to start color coding. Everything is going to be about colors. When you see red, of course, that's not good. It's one of my favorite colors, but it's not good. So some of these, some of the major indicators have to do with model practices, which are called out. And for each of the indicators, we have to have these model practices. And if you go and you look at our plans, there are a bunch of charts and they have things in them. So you need to look in and see if you see some of those things. You'll see that we have put in model practices. But again, if our data doesn't back it up. So the Williams Standards, teacher effectiveness, implementation of academic experience, parental involvement, and they give us links to go to get examples of things to help put into our plans. And I just want, these are some of the rubrics that I showed you, the indicators, and also we have the indicators for our specific subgroups, but because of our school, we don't have a wide range of different subgroups to talk about. We do have some English learners. And so at the end of it all, for every one of these indicators, you'll have a rating and a color coding with the status and with the change. And those are the things that they're looking at. And so what I wanted to do was just kind of share that with you. But I also, since the last meeting, the state is rapidly cranking out some of these documents. And some of the questions you just have to answer. Do you use state board adopted materials? Have your teachers been trained in the new Common Core? Have your teachers been trained in the new math standards and frameworks? Have your teachers been trained in the new next generation science standards? Well, next generation science standards training has not happened in our state, and it is going to happen in November. And so if you have not adopted state-approved curriculum, you have to say no. And at the end, if you're not on track with at least meeting the state's percentages, you're going to have to write, why did you choose to do X, Y, and Z? That is not something that anybody wants to fool with. That is a whole lot of time and effort to explain why you're not doing something. And so we'll see what that works out to be. I have those, all of the rubrics, and so we will I will start to share them with the staff and with the school site council, and we will mark them, and we will continue every board meeting to bring a little bit at a time so that everybody knows. And so those rubrics and things will be shared at our Tuesday faculty meetings, and we will start to take our first shot at marking them to see where they are. And I'd like to have that done before Patty Gunderson, our superintendent, comes to that meeting so that they can compare with their notes and with all of our internal notes. So we have started trying to take all the data that we have very rich data, and put it into our system school-wide so that our teachers can see everything at once, so that when we're reporting, we have a nice array of multiple measures to look at, and then we'll go on. Again, this is new for everybody. And so more to come. Do you have any questions on any of that?
When Patty comes and you guys have that meeting, is she going to come with state stuff, or is she just going to come with our local county?
No, she's going to extract it from the state systems and all of the state systems and the master database. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Spears. Okay. 6.2 announcements. We kind of went over that already. Students already gone over all the announcements. 7.0 public comment period. Public comment on any item of interest to the public that is within the board jurisdiction will be heard. The board may limit comments to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, and a maximum of 20 minutes per subject pursuant to board policy. Public comment will also be allowed on each specific agenda item prior to board action thereon. Public comment.
I just have some questions.
Do I need to go to the podium? No? Okay.
So just a clarification, when you reported out from closed session, is there a part-time teaching position approved? Is that, yes? Sorry, that's in class.
Oh, well, I heard what she said and I was like, did you hear her question?
I just was clarification on the report out from closed session. Was a part-time teaching position approved in closed session?
Yes,
Yeah.
floating sub, Bill Lots.
But not the woman, the
But
man,
it
not
is
the
a
woman.
teaching position.
A floating sub, a substitute is a teacher.
So it's not like a new staff slot. It's basically somebody to cover for staff that has other needs and needs. So it's not like a new position. It's more of a person on site to assist.
So like if
Cover.
a teacher went
To
out for
cover.
a meeting, they'd cover your.
So rather than having to call in a sub, that would be somebody who could be used on campus to be a sub, or they could go out for, it's kind of like having a sub, I guess. That's how I understood it.
So it's pretty much a permanent sub. We're not using any other substitute teachers in the county.
Well, obviously, more than one
Yes,
teacher
you
can be out on a train or something like that. So it's not like there wouldn't be others.
So if he's just in-house.
Right.
So like if you were an IEP, they'd cover your hour for your
Right.
IEP.
I was just concerned about the word teaching position, because there's definitely contract language about flying it in-house, if it's an actual
It's
teaching
a substitute, a
position.
floating
And so
substitute.
a part-time
the
teaching position
terminology
is
is-
quite a bit different than a
It's a
roving
floating substitute.
sub. So basically, we've hired a substitute teacher
In-house
as opposed to having that person work through the county office as a sub.
Correct.
Got it. Other question, just a calendar question. I noticed that and it's a bit confusing, and I walked into it as a teacher. The calendar's a little bit open. The last week of October, the 24th through the 28th, the color on the calendar, district calendar, indicates that it's early release for conferences that week. Yet we have quite a few events and things scheduled that would indicate that that's a full day. And then when you look at the color, it says early release every Monday at 1:30. So I'm just needing some clarification as I plan for conferencing and the Star Kids thing happens then. We just rescheduled a pumpkin patch field trip. So I'm thinking, are those early release days? Or is it being interpreted that only Monday is early release?
It's not on
It's
not
just,
on there. It's the
I just,
actual-
yeah.
That's the board approved calendar
It is
that
the
you're
board
talking about
approved,
prior. We'll have to
Just
get
check
that
it out.
and give you
Okay.
clarification.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
So like on the 31st, it's a Monday, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So I think that, like
Do you
on
want to see
here,
the calendar?
No, look at this
It's
calendar.
the week of.
I don't have,
Yeah,
No,
she's
I
gonna give you
I
hers.
understand what you're saying. So basically, we have it coded as a short days to have parent-teacher conferences for the first.
But then we have,
report.
yes, but we have the fall festival,
Right.
and we have trunk or treat, and I think we have one
Trunk or
other.
treats after school.
So there's been
Right.
some like confusion about when was that.
There was,
when do you guys do your
the
next
pumpkin
report?
patch for the younger kids, we're going to send that until the 28th at
I'm
11.
thinking it's going for conferences.
So,
But then we have a
it's
bunch of stuff scheduled for,
for a full day, and so it's just a little bit confusing as we try to plan and,
As
Right.
parents ask me about it, I'm not sure what to say
We
because
will
I
look
couldn't.
at that and get back to you, and this was approved by the board. So
Yeah.
this is something that we'll have to bring.
Kind of take it
Well-
back.
like the trick or treat Halloween parade contest from 1:30 to 2:30. Obviously, that's not gonna work.
If it's early release.
If it's early release
or-
and that's on a Monday.
And then like
Correct? Okay.
pumpkin patch field trip we scheduled.
And if it was just
Friday.
color coded wrong, we just need to say, don't pick your kid up at 1:30. We're saying until 2:30.
We just need to know, and if it isn't an early release, we need to kind of think about when will we do first quarter parent conferencing.
right.
So I guess the big question I have is that week early release or no?
Okay. Well, let's get back to you.
The other question I had was, and Dr. Schuster, you were talking about board approved and adopted, and maybe that's where I'm confused, is it's approved or adopted curriculum. I've been trying to find in our minutes, does Wonders require board approval? Because I cannot find it in our minutes where we have had public review of that curriculum or where that curriculum's been approved by a board. And so as we move forward with LCAT planning and checking boxes with the state and implementing new curriculum, especially a state-adopted curriculum, I know there's processes to adoption, and I cannot find that in the minutes that are posted on the web page. And so I just kind of wanted clarification if there was a process and it just, I mean, those are the minutes that are posted. So just a
I'll have to
question.
research that. All that
That
happened
would be great.
before I came, so I'll have to go back and,
I know that, as of June, it had not been, and so it would have been in one of the more recent ordinance, and I can't see it there.
okay.
So that was a concern of mine. Also, and I say this, Dr. Spear's going to laugh probably at me, every time we come together, I always request that perhaps we could spend some time or make some time, and I know it's limited with LCAP and with new curriculum and training and everything we have to do, just to revisit our mission, vision. See, she's going to be roll her eyes. I'm usually be like, seriously, you're going to ask again, Dawn? I just really find value in that. I know it's board policy that every time we get a new district superintendent principal, or every 3 years, and for us it's probably more like every year right now. That was supposed to be funny. Maybe not funny yet, sorry if it wasn't. Just that we revisit the mission, vision. I think the board policy reads that the superintendent really dictates how that will look and what that will be or how extensive, but it does indicate that we'll have all stakeholders come together. And just right now for our campus and all of these transitions and new indicators, I think it would be a really valuable experience for us to have some of those open conversations about what's important to us, what's our mission, what's our vision, very specific goals. So for me, just as an employee, I'm asking that we really keep that at the forefront of our mind with mission and vision and talking about who we are and what we stand for and how we want to move forward together.
So I heard you when you mentioned that, and we did start that, but you were at a training, one of your required trainings.
I got some of the minutes are updated from staff, and they still felt, when I spoke to them, or I guess I should speak for myself, I still felt like there's more discussion I would like to have with all stakeholders around that.
Of course, it's just the beginning of the process.
Thank you.
So that, I need just to be clear. So that, I am a little. So that all the parents and teacher and staff are on the same page, right? Will that be put somewhere so that we know the values that we're teaching our children and what direction we're going and what our school stands for? That's going to be all the staff in the same room saying, this is how we work.
So if there's a process, and there will be representatives from the stakeholder groups, there'll be parent representatives, board representatives, staff representatives, and then an ad hoc group that will compile all of that. I have not made any changes to the existing, and just today I took down one that was here. There was a poster that was here, but I've learned by looking back at the LCAPs and the plan and the SIPSA, the school site plan, that a newer one is written on that, but the old posters are what's out.
Right.
So we need to go back, and even in some of the board packets on the fact sheet, the old mission and vision is on there, but in the plans, the new one is on there. So there's a lot that we have to do about.
Now, how are you
What direction?
Oh, I don't mean to interrupt. How are you going to find your parent representation? Who are you?
What we did last time, so I was on that committee last time, were you on that one? It was a blast, you guys. So as a board member, we picked one board member to be part of this group. We picked a couple of parents, we picked some teachers, and it was a huge collaboration. We sat in a room and we wrote down ideas, thoughts that we wanted for our mission statement, and we just collaborated. It was really a neat process,
Right.
but it was a lot. It was a lot, and I think it was more than one day of doing. So I don't recall, it's been a few years ago, but it just takes some time to get it together. And I can't remember I remember how we picked as a board. You know, I volunteered. Heck yeah, I want to do that. I want to be part of that mission statement. I don't recall how we did it with the teachers and the parents. I don't know if it was.
Well, and that's what we're saying, is it's just so old, and now we have new administrative staff, so that needs to be included now, and what direction are we going?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are continuing with the vision statement that currently exists, the latest one. It's in the LCAP and it's in the SIPSA. And we're going to do a 4-part process that I have all outlined. Once the entire staff hears that process, We're gonna do a piece with them, and then we will go out to get our representatives. And so we'll call from JSCA, we'll call from school site council, we'll ask if anyone that's interested, and we'll get a nice group to get input, and then we will take all of that information from those activities, and then a smaller group that has representatives on it will craft it, and then we'll open it back up so the masses can.
Well, just with all the changes we've had, some of that just needs to redirect, so we're all on the same page, so.
Does that answer it, Wendy? Okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay. 8.0 consent calendar. Items under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and are acted on by the board of trustees in one motion. There is no discussion of these items before the board vote unless a member of the board, staff, or public requests specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar. It is understood that the administration recommends approval on all consent items. Each item on the consent calendar approved by the board of trustees shall be deemed to have been considered as full and adopted as recommended. So on 8.1, routine business transactions, annual review, renewal of programs, bids, agreements, notices of public hearing, and proclamation. And we,
There's one second about that. Is it too late about that?
for open,
A weird question. Parents that don't know how to teach Common Core math and math homework is being sent home, is there like a layman's term for when I'm teaching fractions to my kid and I say, okay, you do this process, and they say, no, that's not how I'm taught? Like, for the people that weren't grown up learning Common Core math, how do I help my kid know it and learn it and speak the language?
So you should go to greatkids.org. I'll post a link on our website, and also to Khan Academy, and you can start to Google some of that. So I'll post some links.
Because I can do reading and writing, but math, I'm like, no, dude, you follow this step. No, you don't. You follow this step. And I can't get it without cheating and just looking at the answer. So, okay, if we could do that, that would be awesome. Sorry for backing up.
8.1, the routine business transaction.
I move to,
Was there a motion?
I move to approve the consent calendar with the table 8.1.2.
So we need a second before we can discuss, correct?
I'm not a teacher.
Is there a second?
Can I second and discuss?
Yep.
The second.
Okay, open for discussion?
It's just basically a question on page 1, it says general fund cafeteria, and a total of $135,310.60. Now, I use my calculator to figure it out. Why wasn't the $5,265.49 of deferred maintenance carried down and then the total was?
I don't have a fact sheet in front of me. It was probably just a clerical error. The total is $135,310.60 though. Is that the total that you have on there?
Well, that's the one I have, but that's
Okay.
minus the 5,000.
Did I not include the 5,265?
No, it's
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, this year has 135, it only goes to 130.
I see. I put on general fund and I put on cafeteria fund. I didn't put on deferred maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
Because I was in a hurry.
Yes, that answers the question. Fine.
I apologize.
That's it.
But the total is correct, which
Yes,
is
I
the most
figured
important
that out.
part, right?
Yeah.
And you have the supporting documentation.
It's Common Core math, it's fine.
No,
Exactly. Somehow it's gonna make sense.
The answer's correct. That's all you need to know.
Good, I got that.
Okay, so we're tabling until the next meeting, 8.1.2, student assessment data collection and analysis contract. Other than that, all in favor? Aye. 9.0, old business, none. 10.0, new business, None. 11.0, advanced planning. 11.1, next meeting date will be Wednesday, November 9th, 2016. 11.2, agenda items. The board may request items to be placed on future agendas. Elizabeth, do you have anything?
No.
Richard, do you have anything? Okay. Doesn't mean you don't have anything to put on the agenda.
I don't.
Okay.
That could be a point issue.
And no, I don't have anything. 12.0, adjournment, and the time is 6:53.